Welcome to Mello SRX Week 1 here at Michigan. We have an action-packed race here with 24 cars on the track here. We have Kermit up in the booth for our first broadcast here. Kermit, welcome in, and appreciate you coming in here and hanging out with us.
I appreciate you inviting me to come up here in the booth to help commentate for this Mello SRX series. I'm excited for this series. You know, you've been doing those hosted races, so looking forward to getting the season kicked off officially. Like I said, week 1 here at Michigan, the street stocks. It's going to be a lot of close battles, I bet. Almost like a super speedway here.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely looking for some action-packed racing coming up in this race. I think we're going to have a good race on our hands here as we're going to get ready and get going with a little bit of the driver intros going on here. All right, we have Bryce Hamrick here, your pole sitter here after he won his heat race, and he is sitting on the pole here with James Conley right here to his left-hand side here in the number 3 Good Wrench machine. As we go down the line here, we got John Novak here in the 85 car, the Valvoline car. We got Chris Justice also in the 52 Fago car. Look at those logos on there. I think that's a good paint scheme right there. Got Chris Stange in the 72 just right behind him. And then as we work our way back, we got the number 12, Trevor Haley in the Menards paint scheme here. Got Kevin Nunn in the 64 with the Razor on the side there. Got Chris Fleming in the EMT emblem paint scheme made by yours truly, Mr. Kermit himself, part of the cohort, making cohort SRX EMT paint scheme here. As we go back, we got a cohort SRX paint scheme made for Mr. Ryan Nowicki in the number 74 car. Got Chris Phillips here as we shuffle on back here. Mr. Preston Brown, aka Don Jordan, in the Haviline 28 car here. Joe Sullivan in the 76. Steve Carmen in the 49 car here, racing his first time with us in the Mello SRX any races. Got Larry Johnson here, the number 2 Xfinity paint scheme. Pat Weeb on the Snap-on 19 Street Stock. Charles Northcutt in the Philadelphia Eagles Fly Eagles Fly 67 paint scheme here. John Brink in the Coors Light 7. William Kelly in the UPS 88 car. Justin D. Raymond, his counterpart here with the FedEx paint scheme, number 26 out there on track. Nicholas Presley in the 94. You got EJ Luna, Mr. Panic _ 24E himself, the cohort SRX paint scheme in his colors made by Kermit himself. Mr. Matt Gagnon in the number 4 car here. And rounding up the back of the field here, we have Brian Conover in the 97. And in the pit lane start, we have Mark Math taking us through our field here. That was a pleasure here. As we're going to get going, we're going to have Mr. Kevin James here get us started in this race.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Well, as we get going here, Bryce Hamrick's going to lead us out of the pit lane here. Kurt, what are you looking forward to most in this race? It's going to be a super speedway style racing with the street stocks. I feel like there's going to be a lot of beating and banging going on here because you're not going to be able to move a whole lot here as we see Bryce Hamrick hit the pit exit cone there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if people that have raced with one another try to get linked up, almost old school NASCAR with the tandem drafting. Because I think you're going to need some drafting help to move forward in this race. So I think whoever finds that drafting partner throughout this race is probably going to move forward and hopefully have that partner there at the end of the race to push them to the checker.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing is trying to make more allies and enemies in this race. You definitely don't want to have some foes up there when you're just trying to push through the field. I think that's the biggest thing is just trying to keep someone that you know that you can trust the whole rest of the way here in this race. As the pace truck here is leading us to our start here. Look forward to a good finish with here, and I think Bryce Hamrick is going to lead us here as we are heading into turn 3 and 4 here. 40 laps here in this feature. One fast repair for these drivers out here. We are... I don't know. I think the biggest thing I'm looking to see is just, how many cautions are we going to have? I feel like early cautions are going to bring more cautions, but I could be biting my own words right now as pace truck is off here, and we're going to get Taylor Waltrip to get us going here in the Geico restart zone.
boys!
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Bryce Hamrick is going to take us down into turn 1 here with James Conley on his outside. Let's see if any moves are going to happen here. I see Novak and Chris Justice just trying to get in those bumpers and get that line moving. I don't know. I think big thing right now is just to see how are these packs going to work together with the draft as we're going to get going here.
Yeah, looking at the different practice sessions we had leading up to this race, I think John Novak's one of the more aggressive drivers, especially pushing. As you see here, pushing Bryce Hamrick early on in this race. So I think John Novak's probably one of the most aggressive pushers in the field tonight.
We definitely say that he is a bumper toucher of anybody. He loves to bumper touch the hell out of people. As we do hear some tire squirreling, it looks like people are getting loose in these turns. Things are going to get shaky here as we get going through the rest of this race here.
Yeah, not being familiar with the street stocks at a track like this, is this similar to the Legends where you're going to have to lift going into the turns, or are you wide open the entire time?
There's a little bit of lift play into it. There's definitely a little bit of lift. I think you're just trying to make sure you're not going to spin that guy out, and you got to get a square push on the bumper. If you catch it in one way or the other, you're going to be sending that guy down into the infield the whole rest of the way.
And these guys are bumper to bumper. You have 7 cars, throw a blanket on them. They just need to be cognizant of those cars that are slipping and sliding and maybe not push through these corners, because I think that's what's going to breed those cautions.
You'd hate to see these early cautions, as they will come out eventually at some point. Green flag run is the inevitable here. It's definitely something that we're going to try to see if they can keep it together here. But as of right now, it looks like we're locked 3x3 or 2x2 with 3 cars back. They are linked up here like a chain. Let's see. With Bryce Hamrick, I mean, he's holding on to a big lead right now. I think just holding that bottom side line is going to be key for him for the whole rest of the way here.
And as we say that, we see John Novak all over his bumper. So interesting. I got linked up with Bryce before the start of this race, and the one question I had for him, if he preferred ketchup or mustard, and he's a mustard guy.
Mustard guy indeed. It looks like he doesn't like ketchup on his sandwich, as he's serving up a sandwich to the rest of the field here as he's trying to hold on here. We're getting bumpy. We're getting squirrely here. Chris Justice is getting the rear bumper there of James Connolly. It's looking like people are looking to make some move here early on.
Yeah, we see some 3 wide action further in the field. We have some of the leaders, it's doubled up, still drafting, trying to stay in line. Probably scared to step out, be that only car on the high side. Then you're going to fall back, just like you see at a Daytona or Talladega in NASCAR series.
I mean, look at the rest of the field here. I mean, the fact that they're holding it together like this is it's nice to see out there, as you definitely don't see this a whole lot. As we're going to go on board here with Bryce Hamrick, our leader here. He's holding it down here in the bottom lane here. I think that's the thing, is it's not like a blocking track, but you're definitely trying to make sure no one gets around you, and holding that bottom line is going to prevail for you if you can make it stick the rest of the way here. As we come to the line here, James Conley is going to be the leader here, coming to lap 5 of 40 here. He's looking to steal the show here as he's on that outside line, trying to make it work with everybody. Everybody seems to be linked up here as we are still green flag racing here at Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, and that's a common sight, seeing the 3 car at the front of a super speedway type track. The late Dale, obviously great with the draft, being able to see the wind, knowing what line's moving. So perhaps...
Oh, trouble! Trouble!
Ooh, smoke in the back.
Trouble in the back of the field here. Is that going to bring out our first caution of the race? It looks like it is. Let's go take a look here at what happened there at the back of the field there.
You see some 3 wide action there.
Yeah, it looks like guys were getting a little loose here. I think there might be an incident earlier on. As
4 wide here.
Yeah, it's looking a little crazy out here. I mean, not granted, you can go 4 wide on this track with the street stocks, but what is going to happen here is William Kelly is going to get a little bit of bumper on Larry Johnson here, and he's going to put him up into the wall here. But I think there's a ripple effect that happens throughout the field here towards the end of this. I think there's a ripple effect as a lot of guys are still holding it together. And, oh, Justin Raymond is hitting the 4 car, getting him loose, and gets sent. into the wall. The FedEx machine is damaged, and oh, more
Oh
trouble
my goodness.
after
Heavy contact.
the crash there. We're going to rewind it a little bit. Let's just see what Steven in the 49 machine was thinking there. I don't know if you could see what was going on, but definitely some checking up. You know, you could see it in front of him. What's going on? Boom. The 26 car of Justin Raymond's up into the wall, and that's just Justin Raymond not holding his brake there. What a shame to see out of the 26 car there.
Yeah, that's heavy damage. Hopefully, Justin Raymond's able to walk away from that as he took a hard lick pretty much in his driver's side door. I think, like you said at the beginning of this race, we do have one fast repair. You don't want to use it that early in the race, but I'm willing to bet Justin Raymond's going to have to go in and go ahead and utilize that quick repair.
Yeah, I think that's the inevitable here with these cars. When they take just a little bit of damage, you're definitely going to be feeling it the most. Well, as we are under our first caution here on lap 6 of 40, I'm going to get us going here with some sponsorships here. As we take a look at our sponsors here, we got our first sponsor here with KGL Creation Lab. He is also jumping on board with us for the pilot season of Mello SRX. They are offering our drivers a 10% discount on store items that they have. They have items such as sim racing dashboards, sim racing gloves, custom signs, sim rig, stream deck mounts, and much more. Make sure to go check their products out on the YouTube to see the great reviews that they have with their sim racing accessories. Another sponsor of Mello SRX is Swiss Sim Racing Shop. He's jumping on board with us for the pilot season. For Mello SRX, they're offering our drivers a 10% discount on their store and 20% discount to our pilot season champion. They're offering sim racing LED displays and sim rig mounts for multiple accessories on your sim rig. Definitely go take a look at their stuff on there. They have a link in the bio in the Discord. Last but not least, the Cohort iRacing League. If you're interested in a late model stock or SK Mod league on Sunday nights, they are a good time to be a part of. I'm a part of the league with Mr. Kermit here. He's got a good thing going over there. Our partner league over there. His mission is to foster a vibrant and united iRacing community centered around camaraderie, mutual support, and the thrill of competitive virtual sim racing. They believe in more than just crossing the finish lines. They're committed to creating an environment where members uplift and assist one another, where newcomers are welcomed with open arms, and they are to enjoy the victories celebrated collectively amongst one another. Through the power of racing, they aim to build a lasting connection, develop skills, and cultivate a spirit of togetherness that extends beyond the track. Kermit, you got a good thing going on over there. Appreciate you coming over here and hanging out with us, Jumbronies over here with the street stocks.
I appreciate the shout out there. I'm looking at the field size here, week 1 here for the Mello SRX. I think the future is bright for the SRX series. Looking forward to that release of the actual SRX car. Then we'll get a little more accurate feel for the Tony Stewart SRX series in real life. Bringing that to the virtual world here on iRacing. Try to foster some of that aggressive driving that we see in the SRX series. It's fun to watch on TV, so I'm looking forward to seeing you develop it here for iRacing.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be racing plenty of the 1.5 mile tracks. Maybe the 1 mile tracks will probably be in play here, just depending on what setups they do offer with that car right off the rip. But I think that's the biggest thing is just having something that's kind of similar set up to us. Some people did say before they started the season that they were a little suspicious of the street stock car being the Mello SRX car for the series. But as things have gone on, we did some hosteds last week. It seemed to work out with short track dirt racing. We will be racing the dirt tracks coming up here in the next few weeks. So it looks like it's going to be a good time. We're trying to mimic as much as we can with the SRX series, but we're doing our part to just have fun. I think that's the biggest thing out here on the track is trying to mimic it, but at the same time have fun with it at the same token of just trying to make sure that everybody's having a good time. I think that's I get a little frustrated when a lot of the racing will go one way or the other, but I think with the SRX series it's going in the right direction.
No, I think so too. And we're looking at next week heading to Dover, so we got a mile track going from Michigan, more or less wide open, to a shorter track at Dover. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers race each other today compared to that 1 mile track at Dover next week.
Yes, indeed. Well, it looks like the pace truck is off here, and we're going to get back going green here. DW, do you want to take us away here?
Here we go, green flag. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
DW indeed gets us going here as James Conley was on that bottom side and got us going there. It looked a little bit early in that Geico restart zone. What do you think about that one, Kermit? I know there were some comments in the chat there about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a little close. Maybe race control give that a look. Looks like they're not going to throw a yellow, so perhaps post-race review of the perhaps jumping the start there. But it definitely allowed that 4-car breakaway. So we'll see if that second group can get linked together and go ahead and run down this top 4.
You know, they are 2x2 right now, but if you look in the back, I feel like if you look at the timesheet right now, there's definitely a lot of guys just trying to work together as we are still within a 4-second gap of our last place driver there. You know, there's guys trying to work together. And the bump drafting with these cars, it's slow. It's meticulous. It takes time as you're trying to work through the field here. You know, it's definitely not going to be happening right off the rip when you're trying to work through this field here. As let's slide back to our second group here. We got Trevor Haley, Chris Phillips, Chris Stain, Joe Sullivan, and Kevin Nunn here in the second pack. You see them working together just to catch up to the pack. At the end of the day, I think you shove everything aside here. Don't worry about track position and just try to catch up to that front pack because these street stocks, they don't go fast when they go by themselves.
It looks like they definitely closed the gap. Now we're looking at a 8-car breakaway. A little bit further back for Chris Fleming by a car or two. But as you mentioned, he's in that draft, so it's going to take a minute with these street stocks, but he's going to definitely get to the back of that green 76 and be part of this lead pack. As you see cars down on the apron on the front stretch.
Yeah, we got these guys going below the apron, which they are allowed to do here at Michigan. We did specify that before the race that, you know, going through the front stretch, they are allowed to go down below the apron as we are touching fenders here. Let's go back to the guys kind of trickling back here as we go and take an onboard look at Kevin Nunn here, EJ Luna, and Preston Brown, a.k.a. Don Jordan here. They are back here just trying to catch the draft. I think at the end of the day, you're just trying to maintain what you got here. Just trying to catch up with the, you know, granted, they're not bumper to bumper here, but I think staying on line is going to be your best friend right here.
Yeah, it's definitely a matter of just trying to stay in whatever draft you can. You definitely don't want to fall out of the draft because you're going to find yourself way back in the field and be a lap down, especially if you have a long green flag run. So finding that balance of maintaining that gap with the guys ahead of you, make sure you don't fall off the track.
Speaking of going way back, we're going to go back to the pack that's about 3 seconds off the pace here as they're trying to work together here as you have Nick Pressey here, Mark Math, William Kelly, Brian Conover, and Justin D. Raymond there trying to work their way back into the field here as, you know, I think that's at the end of the day, you're trying to just get to the pack. We talked about it already. Street stocks are not going to catch up. It's going to take a couple laps to get there. And even then, the draft is not like a Cup Series car. You're just trying to hang on for dear life and hope that the guys in front of you get a crash going.
Yes, we'll see if these guys can go ahead and catch that lead pack. Bottom line seems pretty lined up, but if we go back up ahead, we see side-by-side racing, great racing up here for the lead. Still, Connolly leading the pack, leading the pack to the line there with Bryce Hemrick still on his outside in that blue 94.
Yeah, Connolly's holding on to this lead on this bottom side. He's definitely making it work, and he's definitely making it know that he's like, I'm not giving it up. Like, you're gonna have to at least, you're gonna have to kill me, basically. You're gonna have to take me out of this race, kill my car, kill my engine, kill my fenders, and not let me get back on this track. Now, granted, he would have a fast repair in play, but you don't want to have to use that early on. And I think with that first caution that came out, there was a lot of drivers that had to use that first fast repair.
Yes, we see these guys trying to get I think that's Frank Clown on the outside in the green 76. Excuse me, Sullivan in the green 76, making it 3 wide, trying to get up there with John Novak. See if they can push John Novak up to the front. We covered at the beginning of this race how aggressive John Novak is as a pusher. But right now he has nobody to push.
Trouble. We have trouble with the 76 car. He's got put up into the wall there. Let's go take a look at the it's still green as of right now. It doesn't look like anybody's off the pace. But Joseph Sullivan just got sent up into the wall there. You hate to see that as the outside lane is just dying off on the outside there.
Yeah, I think Sullivan was the only hope that John Novak had on that outside, because I think he's going to continue to fall back as long as these guys are linked up below him.
Yeah, Hamrick is definitely working with the bumper toucher of Trevor Haley right behind them. As Chris Stange is going to go underneath Trevor Haley, as that's going to force a 4 wide action here on the front stretch. Oh man, bumper to bumper, pushing and beating and banging here. Oh man, things are going to get dicey here with the pinch down 3 wide for your second, third, and fourth spot. Oh man, Kermit, it looks like it is heating up here on lap 15.
3 by 3 after a 4 wide. I tell you what, this is what we expected to see leading into this race. Cars being aggressive, getting runs, making their car fit in the smallest gap that exists. And that's exactly what we saw there by Chris Stange, really seeing the hole and shooting it.
Seeing the hole and shooting is what these guys are looking to do here. Is the draft is definitely, it's very small, minute. You're definitely just trying to hang on to it. As you see the guys here in the back of the field, they're just trying to get a nibble of it, but it is not pulling them back up here to the front. As James Conley is going to be in the lead here with Chris Stange pushing them right behind with Chris Justice. We got 3 Chris's in this race, by the way. Down your bottom side here and making sure that he's saying, hey, I'm still here. I'm a part of this race. Don't count me out here just because I'm on the bottom lane. I'm trying to make it work down here.
I'm looking at now is John Novak on the outside, pushing Bryce Hamrick back to the lead. We saw Bryce definitely had the pace leading this field early. We said multiple times John Novak is an aggressive pusher, and as we're saying that, we see Bryce closing the gap. We'll see if he gets momentum on the outside. It's getting loose. Oh man, he saves it. We talked about it. John Novak, aggressive pusher. Bryce Hamrick gets a little loose there on corner exit.
I'll tell you what, though, I don't know if you know this or not, but John Novak has a couple bumper toucher awards that he earned in the Mello SRX hosted. He was definitely one of those guys that would love to touch your rear end and get you up to the front. Now, granted, would it benefit him? Yes, but at the same time, would he leave you in the dust at the same time? Absolutely. That man is looking to get up there in the P1 spot whatever way he can. Whether he uses you or abuses you, he's looking to get up there to the front, whether he tears your rear bumper off. As you see it here,
There's lap traffic. Go ahead, Mello.
no, you're good. I was going to say Joseph Sullivan on the outside there. He's going to become the first car lap down, or second car lap down, but he's going to be the lead lap car. So this might be some implication here as a Lucky Dog might come into play here at some point. We have the 72s. Chris Stange has gone down to the bottom right in front of Chris Justice. Still got James Conley working with Trevor Haley and the 4 car of Matt Gagnon in your middle. And you got Bryce Hamrick and Mr. Novak on the outside there as this pack is still beating and banging in trouble. A little bit of loose bang. Ooh, boy. Oh, man. I thought there was going to be a caution there. Kermit?
Door handle to door handle. Let me tell you, we have our top, 8 cars all right here. Now we see them bumper to bumper, 3 by 3 for the point. This is exciting racing. This is better than I could have anticipated coming into this race, as these guys are definitely putting it all on the line. Lap 18 of 40 scheduled laps here at Michigan, but you'd think this is the final lap.
They're definitely treating it like it is, but we're only at lap 18 right now. These guys are definitely showing, what their true driver abilities are. As Chris Stange is looking like he's going to get pushed up here, back onto the drive line here. Oh man, I'm waiting. I feel like something's going to come into play here. Maybe a yellow coming out here. I think something is going to happen here. I'm looking at the inevitable here.
Yeah, I think this is me in an official race. I'm dropping down to the apron on the backstretch saying, go ahead, boys. You tear up your cars. I'll be here to collect that free chicken when you all wreck.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the case here as these guys are... Oh, loose, trouble. Chris Stange involved in that wreck, and caution looks like it's going to come out here.
We saw it coming, Mello. We saw it brewing, had all the ingredients you needed. All we need to do is stir the pot a little bit, and that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be it for right now. Wow. You hate to see that for Chris Stange here. We're going to go take a look at the replay here. Oh, man. That looked wow. That looked pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting up here and I'm feeling in my arms how I'll be shaking and rattling in the seat there. As we're going to take a look here, we're going to go slow-mo here. Trevor got loose there from the high side, coming down and bumping him, which caused him to go and hit the 72 of Chris Stange. Would also caused him to hit James Conley in the front there. Big checkup on the 4 car. Glad he checked up for Trevor Haley as they still continue to spin. Oh man,
Yeah, 4 car has nowhere to go. Trevor Haley sideways right in front of him. Then we see the 72 Chris Stange go up the track, collect the 28 Haviline of Mr. Brown. And I don't know if anything else gets damaged after this, but our front pack side by side get a little loose. That's all it takes. Kiss that right rear, and there it is. Our second caution of this race.
second caution indeed. As we're gonna take a look here. We're gonna go to the drone cam at least. Go back to up to our leaders here. Kermit, as we are getting new to things here, as the Mello SRX stream is trying to figure out how to do the broadcast live on stream. So I will say this: we talked about this earlier on this week. I tried to figure out if this the standings was going to show the feature, the laps, all that, etc., etc. If it was just going to show the checkered flag. Well, as I just found out, I was looking on stream. It does show the feature, the laps. I just have to figure out the cautions and throwing them up there. So I have caution laps, as you're going to see on the broadcast later on, the cautions over top of where the lap numbers were. And I just found that out by looking at Streamlabs. So glad that I figured that out earlier on here. First broadcast of the stream, but, looking forward to not having that happen later on for our races.
Yeah, Mello, as a fellow commentator, broadcaster, and YouTuber myself, there's going to be some easy growing pains, nothing serious. As you look, as we see some cars heading down pit road for tires here under caution. But yeah, there's going to be little kinks that you're going to have to work out, and that's to be expected. So any viewers watching this, please, if there's anything that you see that's distracting or wrong, go ahead and leave a comment below. Collectively, we can tighten this thing up, make sure we put on the best show we can for you guys.
I think what's really distracting is having you up here in the booth. My God, I mean, I love hearing your voice just, back and forth with me and with a little bit of banter that's been going. That's been a good time here, doing at least the Kermit side of things with the cohort, hopping in the booth there for a couple races here and there. I feel like it's a good time just to be up there and having a good time with you over there. And I felt like the chemistry worked out really well. We're not we're not any professional commentators over here, but when you have a camaraderie, I feel like it works up in the booth when you can figure out the eaves and the flows of things.
I tell you what, Mel, you keep talking about the chemistry and love hearing my voice. My wife might make me stop doing these broadcasts with you.
Hey, watch out! I'm gonna take it from you. No, it's a good time here on a Saturday night. We're having a good time. I think that's the biggest thing is just trying to create a fun and hard racing atmosphere. Love to see that these guys are, making it a good race. Granted, couple cautions, that's to be expected with the street stocks, but I'm thinking, what's going to happen from here on out? We're about halfway through the race. We're over halfway. We're right at the halfway point, roughly. What's going to happen here at the end. These guys have already found out who they're going to work with, who they're not going to work with, and I think there's going to be some decision making going on here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, so I always say that there's a correlation between the intensity and the laps remaining. So if you at the beginning of the race, 40 lap race, intensity is pretty low. Then every lap that ticks off, there's a tick to the intensity. And as the race continues, that balance shifts into intensity. So I think that's what we're going to see these next 20 laps. We had 2 cautions leading to this point. If I'm a betting man, Mello, I'm going to say we're going to see some more cautions.
The racing has been good so far, but like you said, the intensity picks up lap after lap. I would look to see some moves being making, some feelings being hurt here as we are double it up. We're gonna rack them up and stack them up here as we're gonna get going green. I believe the pace car has the lights off on, and it does. I know you can barely see it there on the screen behind our SDK gaming overlay here as we have brought this to the stream with a new little look here for the Mello SRX series. As they are doubling them up, stacking them up. We're going to get going here green. Kermit, final thoughts before this restarts happen here.
But we still see John Novak, that aggressive pusher, still up front. I think as these laps wind down, we're going to see him push somebody up to the lead.
Yeah, he's definitely a bumper toucher. He's gonna probably get that award. I haven't decided yet, but he's looking like he's gonna be that contender here to get that bumper toucher award here. As
It'd be exciting to see somebody come up from the rear as well. So let's go ahead and keep looking through the field. Pace car's in, Mello.
yeah, pace car is in. We're gonna get going here through the Geico restart zone and get some more action-packed street stock racing coming at you.
Here we go, green flag. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
And we are back at it again, racing again with James Conley getting a big jump out in the front of the field here. But John Novak says, no way, Jose. I'm going to get Mr. Hamrick back into this mess with the Fly Eagles fly paint scheme of Charles Northcutt just right behind them, trying to make some moves here as they are single filed right now.
Yeah, getting that big of a jump here at a super speedway-esque track usually doesn't work out well. As we see Bryce Hamrick go to the high side, John Novak goes with him. Charles North got 3 cars lined up on the outside. That's going to be bye to James Connolly, as he's probably going to lose those positions to those 3 on the high side.
You know what's funny though? Look at him though. He's holding that bottom lane. He's holding on pace with these guys working in a draft just by himself. That bottom line seems to be working for a lot of these guys. He's going to get some help here from Fly Eagles Fly right behind him.
Yeah, it looked like there was a car that went on the inside down behind. I'm not so sure it's going to bring out a caution. Might have been a single car incident. But yeah, James Connolly was able to hold on to P3. Charles Northcutt looked like he backed out of that 3-pack draft on the high side, allowed James Connolly to slide in there. But we said it before they went green. John Novak's probably going to push somebody to the lead, and here we are. John Novak pushing Bryce Hemrick down the backstretch.
Well, it looks like, as we're trying to take a look here, looks like Brian Conover and Justin D. Raymond staying out there through that caution. Didn't go down to get tires like a lot of the guys did. It seems like those guys got track position. It might be towards the end of this race that track position is going to be key for the rest of these drivers that are working their way through the field here.
And we might see some guys get some damage early and not want to go get those utilize their fast repair too early. So there might be some cars out here that have some damage that are going to be a little bit off pace. So that's going to be on these drivers to know who has damage, who doesn't, to make sure you're not pushing a guy that has a torn off front end.
Yeah, you know, the torn off front end is definitely going to affect these cars. They're not, you know, like you said, the draft. Ooh, as we get a little bit of bumper touch in there from the number 6 car of Chris Phillips. He's trying to get in that rear bumper of James Connolly. Said, "Hey, I'm here to work with you. Let's get something going here." But you know, I think with the damage in these cars, though, you know, a little bit of damage is going to affect you in a drafting type race like this.
So as a driver of the street stock here at the Mello SRX series, as you're that lead car and a car comes up to you and gives you that bump draft, what's it feel like as a driver?
You know, it's if you're even, you know, you hit it square right on the bumper, it's not bad. You don't get a whole lot of wheel shake. It's not like hitting a Cup Series car, an Xfinity car. It's not a whole lot. But now, granted, if you hit it at the wrong spot at the wrong time, especially in a corner, good luck. You're not going to be able to hold on to it or try to save that.
Yeah, there's nothing flat about the front of these cars as the bumper comes to a natural point. So it's very easy to see why if you're not lined up with that center of that rear bumper, it's very easy to turn some guys around.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of these guys are just trying to stay even with them. They're not trying to push too hard or be aggressive. But as the laps wind down here, I think we're going to see some more action-packed races. Look at that. We got a good pack here in the back of the field. It looks about, 12-car field here in the front? It's going to get going here.
Yeah, James Sullivan's a little bit further back, perhaps intentionally, expecting, as we mentioned, maybe some of those cautions that we were talking about. So we'll see if James Sullivan later on in this race is in the right place at the right time, as Bryce Hemrick still leads us with John Novak behind and Chris Phillips on his outside.
Yeah, as you can see, as we're going to work from the back to the front here, we got Don Jordan, Chris Justice, John Brink, Larry Johnson, Chris Fleming, Trevor Haley, Kevin Nunn, Justin D. Raymond, Charles Northcutt, Brian Conover, working your way up to the top 5 here because they are holding on to the draft here of your top 5, your leaders that are making this 2x2 about 8 cars back, to be honest with you here. It looks like it, Kermit.
Yeah, we're going to be coming to 12 to go at the line here. So now if you find yourself in that 5th, 6th row, now it's probably the time to start making moves. We talked about these street stocks, they don't close in the draft as much as the Xfinity or the Cup car. I mean, the next gen, we'll leave that alone. But the draft isn't as effective in these street stocks as we've seen in other series. So if you want to try to make your way up to the front, and you're not in that top 6 to 8 right now. You probably need to start making moves and start working your way up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a game of positions here as we get down to the end here. Let's see if these guys are going to be making some moves here. Definitely going to need some key moves out of these guys. I'm just happy to see that they're racing clean like this. You know, I came into this race not knowing if there was going to be clean racing, and I'm happy to see that. I mean, how many cars have we got single file, doubled up, but we're single file all the way back, and they're willing to lift off the throttle just to not spin out the guy in front of them.
It's a I don't know how fast these cars go, but 140-mile-an-hour pace lap is what we're looking at. Doubled up all through the field, nose to tail, good hard racing. Being conservative, you don't see a lot of door-to-door action right now. So perhaps they know that they're not going to win the race on lap 30. No, but I'm sure as these laps wind down, that middle line that appears to be a gap, people are going to take advantage of that and make it 3 wide as we close down these remaining 10 laps.
Yeah, James Conley's still holding that second line groove, and he's still holding to this lead here. As we're gonna go up to the flag stand here and see them pass the start finish line as we're 3 wide going into the entry here as we're coming down to 10 laps to go here.
Yeah, I do expect to see some 3 wide battles happening as we see the 2 car of Mr. Johnson on the outside. Chris Stange, who we saw caught up in that early incident, trying to work his way back up. So perhaps they can get linked up on that third groove on the outside, work their way up through the field, compete for this win as we close down the race.
You know, I love to see that this action-packed race is getting down towards the end of it because, you do see that we have 16 cars within a second of the leader. 16 cars. I would have never been able to say that before the race, but yes, 1-6. 16 cars are in a second of each other. We've got some trouble here on the high side there with Chris Stange and Larry Johnson. Kermit?
Yeah, this is that 3 wide action we were talking about, and you notice they're 3 wide back in that 10 to 14 range because they know that they need to start making these moves. The people that are up in those top 5, they can wait maybe 3-4 laps to go to make a move. But if you're back in the pack, you need to shoot any gap that you have to start try to make your way up to the front. And I think that's why we see some of that contact between Chris Stange in the back as they're trying to find their way, bobbing and weaving the second row. It's going to get good coming on these closing laps, Mello.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the end of this race is going to come down to it. I don't know if we're going to have another caution or not because these guys have been keeping it clean here to the rest of the way, but that 3 car is definitely holding on to his britches here as the 94, as the 97 and the 26 try to slide up there. It looks like they're trying to make a move on that high side to get the third lane going, but it's not looking to work for them. As you can see here, the 97, the 26, and the 12, and the 33 are really, really close with each other, trying to get something going here. And, you see the 97, as you see the 26 pop up with the 12 car here, it looks like there's a third line getting to be formed here.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen sooner or later as we see Chris Fleming a little sideways in the center there, perhaps some turbulence with the air cars all around him. We see Panic getting to the back bumper. EJ Luna getting to the back bumper of the 12 of Trevor Haley. Mello 26. Now we have 4 cars on the high side, 5 cars on the high side. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going and work their way up to the front.
Yeah, it's a battle here as they drop back down here. Oh man, this is going to get bumpy towards the end here. I can already tell.
Is the yellow flag out, Mello?
Yellow flag is out. Caution is out. Thanks for calling that out, Kermit. Caution is out. Let's go take a look at what happened here on the replay here.
Oh, sure enough.
Oh, we had some trouble here. Let's go to the far chase camera here as I get that selected for us. Far chase camera here with Mark Math gets into the left rear quarter panel of Joseph Sullivan, puts him down in the pit lane. But I don't think that should have brought out the caution because he was on the bottom side of the track. So unless he comes back up onto the track, that's the only reason why it would come out. So did the race control come out early with the caution there? I mean, was there any aftermath to it? Let's go back behind the wreck here, see if there was anything that happened on, because a lot of what the cautions are going to come out from is if they stay on the track, the race surface. So if the wreck goes down below the line and no one stopped on the track up here, then I don't know why the caution would come out at this point. So and as you see it, the lights are already on for caution. So yeah, race control came out with that caution, I think a little prematurely, but that is on the iRacing race control, and yeah, they deemed it to be a caution.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is because there was a car sideways in front of the other car, as the Joe Sullivan was at a 90-degree angle in front of. I'm not sure who the other car was, but perhaps that's what triggered the caution. But this is it now because we're going to be all grouped up, restarts. So if if there was a time that the drivers were going to be intense, it's definitely going to be on this restart where they're all grouped together trying to make a move. I think we're going to go three wide before we hit the backstretch on this restart, Mello.
Yeah, I'm definitely agreeing with that. I think with some of the racing that we've already seen so far, as I think we're going to go to 2 to green this time. I think there's going to be some action-packed racing as we get down to the nitty gritty of laps here. We are coming down to the end of this race. Want to take the time here though and make sure we shout out our sponsors one more time. These guys came on for the pilot season of Mello SRX here. As we have KGL Creation Lab here. They jumped on board. They were giving our drivers a 10% discount in store items. Make sure to go check them out on their YouTube page for any of the reviews. They got plenty of good reviews on there. They got really good sim racing equipment for your sim rig, or just for stuff that you want to have with you on your desk or whatever. It can be mounted to, I think it's on your sim rig and your desk as well. Same thing with the Swiss Sim Racing Shop. They're offering a 10% discount to all our drivers and a 20% discount to our driver champion. Sorry. They have LED displays, which I'm actually really interested in wanting to get one of those because they are looking mighty fine. Just put it up here in front of the monitor, and then they also have some sim rig mounts for your phone, your stream deck, whatever you want to mount to your sim rig. You can use them as your source for accessories. Go check them out at their link in the bio in the Discord as well. They are a good time over there as well. Thank you for the support with those guys. And as always, the Cohort iRacing League. If you guys are interested in joining a late model stock and SK mod series that is on Sundays, starting at 7:30, correct, for the SK mods?
Yes, sir.
7:30 is the practice time for those. 9 o'clock practice time start for the late model stocks. Go over there, check them out. They got a good thing going over there. He's our partner league over here. Glad to say that he's a friend, but more or less helping me out with starting this Mello SRX stuff up. It's been a pleasure to get this ball rolling with the league set up, and yeah, they are a good group of guys over there with the mission. I mean, the mission first and foremost being that they're trying to create a community race around camaraderie, mutual support, and thrill of competitive virtual sim racing. I think that's something that you have to look forward to. As not all leagues are like that, and they're set up that way. As I've been having a blast here in the races I've been able to attend to in the late model stock series. It's been a fun time. Kermit, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming up in the booth with us this evening as well.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's partnerships like this, between, you look at Mello SRX, the cohort series. We also have like the only short track series underneath the ARC iRacing League that we partnership with. So when you look at the iRacing leagues, there's dozens, hundreds of leagues out there, and everybody wants to make their league like the league. There's not a lot of collaboration between the leagues, so I do appreciate the collaboration that we're doing here. Um, at the end of the day, we all just like to get together, form that community, have that common hobby, if you will, and enjoy the racing. So I think the more that we race with one another, the better the racecraft's going to be. The more the respect is going to raise throughout the races. So yeah, appreciate you um, partnering with the cohort. I think it's week one, 24 cars. Great start here. Looking forward to, like I said, Dover next week, short track. Dover being one of my home tracks, first NASCAR race I've ever been to, so a little close to my heart there at Dover. So looking forward to next week. Great thing you have here, week one, 24 cars, then great racing throughout the field. So looking forward to seeing these closing laps and see who can bring home the first checkered here in the Mello SRX series. Pace cars in.
Pace car is off here as we're gonna get going green.
Here we go, green flag. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you, DW, for being up here with us in the booth. We got James Conley here, bottom side, holding it off here with Bryce Hamrick getting that bumper touch of a lifetime from the Novak machine, the 85 car. He's trying to get in that bumper and say, hey, let's get this win here, buddy.
We know notice Connolly didn't get as big of a lead as he did on that last restart. Perhaps learned getting that early jump like it's a short track. It is the SRX series, but I assure you this is not a short track. As we see James Connolly in the middle with no help. Wonder how far back he's going to fall if he can slide in. Looks like he's able to slide in there and see John Novak by himself on the outside.
Yeah, he got ditched by everybody. They seen how he's restarted, and he's getting into the bumper of the 194 car here. I got to make sure I say that right because the guy didn't put the right paint scheme on. But he's in the 194 car of Bryce Hamrick up here in the front. He's taking this here with, what, 4 laps to go here coming this time. Oh, man. Beating and banging now. There's definitely going to be some bent fenders and probably some bent feelings after this race as we're coming down to the closing stages.
Yeah, we knew we would see some 3 wide. I'm a little shocked that John Novak's all by himself on the outside there. As the inside lane loses momentum, it's going to allow that middle lane to prevail. John Novak still hanging out by himself on the outside. Oh, contact.
Got some trouble down to the infield, coming back up onto the track. Does he save it? No, trouble. Trouble in the back of the field. That is the big one of the race there. Oh, my Lord. We have to go take a look at that as caution is out.
Bumper shrapnel everywhere. That was certainly the big one here at Michigan. Week 1 of the Mello SRX series. My goodness, there is no stopping that car once it goes sliding through the grass. I think the only thing that driver could do at that point is grip that steering wheel, try to keep it off the track, but as soon as it starts sliding back up, cross those arms and let it ride.
Yeah, as we see here, it's the 6 car of Chris Phillips. He gets hit with Novak kind of pinching down. James Connolly not giving him the room to come down, and he's trying to save it. He doesn't lock it up until he gets back up on the track. That's something I definitely have to look at post race. Comes back up to the track and just shrapnel everywhere, beat and banged cars all over the track.
Well, fortunately, Chris Fleming's in an ambulance-themed car, so hopefully he has a first aid kit in there because my dude went for a spin.
Yeah, he definitely went for a ride. As we're going to go back here with Don Jordan here, a.k.a. Preston Brown. We're going to take a look here from the backside here how this unfolded. As you see Chris Phillips go down to the grass here, comes back up, tries to save it, and does not save it, and absolute carnage after that. You hate to see it. I mean, let's even go back farther. I think we can go one more time. Let's go back even farther with Stephen Carmen just hanging out here. He's a 1 lap down. He's trying to get back on the lucky dog, which I believe he will get, or he's not the lucky dog. Ryan Nowicki will get the lucky dog on this, but he's back here just waiting for the big one to happen, and sure enough, it does, Kermit.
Yeah, let's see if he gets woed up. You can see he slams on the brakes, gets loose himself. There's cars sliding through the grass, but he's able to avoid all those cars. As that 6 Valvoline car looks like he went through an oil slick once he hit that grass. I don't know, Mello. Locking it up full throttle, I don't know if there's much he could have done. Hitting that grass 120 degrees, entering the turn. But you hate to see all the damage to all those cars. But we knew it was going to happen, Mello. Every 9 times out of 10, plate racing, you're going to have a late caution because you're going to have these guys making these moves. They know they don't have a lot of time, and as we mentioned, the draft doesn't close quickly in this car as other cars. So if you want to make a move, you got to do it. John Novak trying to do some side drafting, maybe a little bit too aggressively, cause some contact. The accordion effect sent the number 6 down through the infield, came back up and murdered everybody. But luckily, Chris Fleming in the Emblem Athletic machine, first aid kits, ready to go. I think if anybody didn't use their fast repair, now's the time to go and get that.
Well, as we take a look here, we see Charles Northcutt is our big mover right now of the race with the 19 spots that he's gained on the initial start of this feature. That's something to see here because that definitely is going to mean a lot here towards the end of this race. You definitely want to see. Hold on, I'm trying to see if anybody goes down to the pit lane here and what the pit lane times are looking like. But yeah, you see 3 cars down here. John Brink, Chris Justice, and Ryan Nowicki are going to go down to pit lane here. But yeah, man, that was a wreck. I mean, that was the big one of the race. If there was a time to say that there's a sponsor for the big one of the race, that was the big one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, our caution flags, they're the big ones. Anybody out there that's interested in sponsoring the Mello SRX series, this is week 1 of the first season. So we're going to have, 9 weeks.
9 weeks, yes. Six regular season and 3 playoff races.
Yep. So quick seasons here in the Mello SRX series. Um, Depending on how successful this league's going to or this series is going to be, we can look expanding. Maybe making a longer season. So if you're interested in jumping on board early on before we get way out of control, and we have Tesla and Amazon sponsoring us, go ahead and jump on board. Get it while the getting's good.
As I'm sitting here talking to you, I think maybe, and this is just going to be something I'm going to throw out here. Maybe throwing the big one, as in the cohort big one. I think that might be where it's at right now. Naming the big one of the race, the cohort big one.
Well, not to shame my own league, but based off the number of face laps that happen over at the cohort late model stock tour, I think it's appropriate to name the big one after the cohort series. But we're working on that. We got some racecraft issues. We got some respect issues going on in the cohort. It's not very cohorty. There's no sense of community yet. There's a sense of competitiveness though. Everybody wants to win, which I appreciate. People show up, get passionate about getting to the front. We just got to find a balance. So we're working on it over at the cohort. But yeah, the cohort big one, aptly sponsored. Thanks, Mello.
No shade thrown your way for the league. It is definitely is. It's more or less because we're talking about something else that's big. Wait, what? Did I say that? No. We're talking about just having something that at least represents what the big wreck of the race is. And I think with this Michigan track, you're going to have a big wreck like that because it is a super speedway style race. But as we work our way into like Dover or something of that nature, Dover might have something. But as we work down our schedule here, I think we're going to have some more stuff come up here towards probably the dirt races more than anything. I think the dirt races is probably going to be where we're going to see some more action. U.S. International is going to be that third weekend. Kansas going back to a 1.5 mile track after that. It's looking to be eventful races coming up here as the schedule was made by yours truly over here. I felt like that was the even keel race strategy there with having a good race schedule set up with a mixture of things in there.
Well, I think the drivers are showing that they can handle a 1.5 mile track here in the street stocks. I think Kansas is going to be a good race. I think a lot of these drivers have enjoyed this, so that might be one they mark on the calendar. Looks like pace car is going to go in here, Mello.
Yeah, pace car is going off here, and we're going to get going green here.
Here we go, green flag. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Bryce Hamrick is going to lead us to the lead of this race here. James Conley, Novak, Charles Northcutt, and Justin D. Raymond in that top 5 spot. It looks like there's going to be some moves here as we are going to be coming to the white flag this time. We have 3 green-white checkers. Will we need to use all of them? Will this be the last one here? Let's see what happens here at the end of this race here, Kermit.
Yeah, we saw Bryce Hamrick get a big lead, and we're going to see. We saw earlier that didn't work out for James Connolly, as it looks like he's going to get shuffled out to that third lane. Yeah, James Connolly's going to make his way in there to that middle lane. Door to door, you could reach out and touch each other's door handle there. So side by side, 3 wide for the point, coming to the white flag. This is the racing you expected to see here in these street stocks at Michigan. Plate style racing. Yeah, Bryce Hamrick getting that big jump on that restart certainly cost him as he found himself back in the 5th position, coming to the white flag.
Yep, your top 10 is within a second of each other as the white flag is out this time. White flag is out. James Conley is in the lead of this race here as we are 2x2. Look at that Justin D. Raymond car, the 26 car all over the place, trying to find a lane that he can get a part of and get back up into the front here. As James Conley is getting the push from a lifetime from the Fly Eagles fly machine of Charles Northcutt in that second lane. Novak has no help behind him besides just Brian Conover. Trevor Haley's trying to catch up to him. But like we said before, these street stocks, they cannot catch up to the draft super quick here as Bryce Hamrick is just going to jump right behind the 26 car of Justin D. Raymond. James Conley on your outside there is holding that second lane. He's in the lead of this race here as we are coming to the finish of this. What's going to happen here? Trouble.
Looking for that brotherly shove from that Philadelphia Eagles car as they come to the checkered, and James Connolly.
James Connolly is going to be your winner of this race with Novak in second, Charles Northcutt in third, Justin D. Raymond in fourth, and Brian Conover in fifth. That is your top 5. Wow, Kermit, we had a good finish there at the end.
The push for the win. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it is only fitting that James Connolly wins this race from the brotherly shove. We see some drama going on back here. The brotherly shove of the Fly Eagles Fly Charles Northcutt machine, pushing James Connolly to this win in week 1 of the Mello SRX series.
Yeah, that was a hell of a push here. As you're getting a little bumper touch here from Novak saying, "Hey, I was working with you in the beginning of this race. Now I'm P2 with you." Good finish there towards the end of this race. As we're gonna get these guys down here to pit lane, and we'll get some driver interviews here coming up here. Let's send it over and get some driver interviews here. Charles, Kermit, and Mello up in the booth. You got a copy? A copy?
Gotcha.
What's up, buddy? You got a P3 there. How do you think this race went? I mean, it was 40 laps, Michigan, first race of the pilot season. How do you think your race went on the track?
Went flawlessly almost. You know, we took our time, we went through with the our strategy, go down the back, walk some laps, and then we came out here and we did our thing, went in the front, stayed in the front, got a nice solid finish.
Yeah, Charles, you did what you had to do, kept the car clean. I'll tell you what, out of all the field, I think that Eagles paint's the best paint out there.
Oh yeah, I might change that paint.
Well, that's not what I wanted to hear. So hopefully you don't find another podium if you're going to take off the Eagle paint. I'm kidding. A great race. You know, as Mello said, here in the pilot season, there was some good battles up in the front, a lot of pushing, a lot of drafting, a lot of door banging. It's what we like to see. A lot of good, hard racing. We'll do the review of anything that was maybe a bit overboard, but you did what you needed to do. Podium, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Charles, you got anybody you want to shout out or sponsors you want to thank here before you go?
Shout out to Fly Guys, shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, man.
That's right. Appreciate you, Charles.
Yep.
Who's next?
Novak.
Because I saw him getting closer on my left monitor.
Hey, Novak, it's Kermit and Mello up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey,
P2. Look at you up here just trying to skate away with a little bit of a super speedway street stock edition. What do you think it took to stay up there in the front like you did pretty much the majority of the race there?
it was hell. I'd rather be on the outside. It was much more fun on the outside. And then we, had a couple cautions and ended up back at the bottom. But it was fun. It was definitely fun.
Yeah, we talked mid-race, and you mentioned that the key to finding the podium was going to be the aggressiveness, and it looks like it paid off for you. Come bringing it home P2.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy. A lot of beating and banging between cars. There was definitely a lot of beating and banging.
We like beat and banging. Mr. Novak, do you have anybody that you want to shout out or any sponsors you want to thank before we see you into week 2 here?
No, other than you for, setting this up, putting it on. You guys doing all this stuff and making it fun, making it a good time.
Well, I appreciate you showing up. It's always a pleasure.
We should do these on a road course. That would be real fun.
I'm thinking about doing that for the All-Star race. I think that should be an All-Star race thing, but definitely take that into consideration. Appreciate you coming up in the booth here and hanging out with us, and we'll see you at week 2.
Take it easy.
I cut him out short.
That's fine. He said
All
enough.
right, let's bring up our race winner here. I brought him to the wrong one. James, it's Kermit and Mello up at the booth. You got a copy?
Sure, how we doing?
We're doing good. I love to see that 3-car out there, racing as hard as he does. But what do you think it took there to get that win? I mean, I I saw the late moves there with Bryce, and it seemed to work out for you in your favor. What do you think was the biggest key there on that green white checkered?
The biggest thing was putting a little bump and run on Bryce. So he definitely owes me one. That was a good race. Everyone up there in the front, especially Bryce, Charles, John. There was a couple of other guys. I'm forgetting some names, Trevor, but a lot of those guys up there in the front. That was good, clean racing. Nice and hard, but clean.
Yeah, it was definitely hard racing up there. A lot of beating and banging, as you mentioned. Looks like Charles Northcutt. When you think about a drafting track, it's not a plate track per se, but in the street stock, it definitely races like one. And Charles Northcutt definitely gave you that push in that final lap.
Yeah, Charles as well. I owe him one for sure. He's in the Eagles car, right?
Yes, sir.
I hate that. As a Cowboys fan, I hate that, but I owe him one.
Well, I'm an Eagles fan myself, so James, I was going to ask if you had any shout-outs to any sponsors or anything, but now I don't care. No, I'm kidding. You have any shout-outs to any teams or sponsors?
I mean, shout out to you guys for putting on the show. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everyone for showing up, and thanks everyone for watching. That was a blast.
Mello, parting words.
James, congratulations on week one. Although I don't like you in fantasy football, I like you on the track at least a little bit more. So good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in week 2, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Well, that is it, Kermit. We wrapped up our interviews here, and we are getting underway looking at our standings here. We have James Conley up here in the lead. He got those bonus 5 points. If I believe correctly, it was because he gained 2 for leading the most laps. And if you lead one or more than one lap, you get a bonus point. And then as the race winner, you gain 3 points. Brian Conover gained the most positions out of the race. I thought for sure it was going to be Charles Northcutt, but Brian Conover gained 19 spots in that race. So he got 1 point. Bryce Hammer got the pole position and led one. So that's funny. You got to think about it. Bryce and James basically led all the laps of this race, though. You would have thought there would have been more leaders, Kermit. Well, I think Kermit has departed, but it's okay. We're here, and we're looking at the standings.
We're here.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, we're good. So what I was saying is the mic is muted. So what I was saying is that it's really no surprise. You look at the front of the pack. They were able to draft with one another, stick with one another side by side, beat and bang, and maintain their speed for the most of the race. We only saw one incident up front whenever John Novak kind of tried to do a little side draft, but for the most part, it was a really good, clean racing up front. And those guys that are up front stay away from all the damage, all the carnage that happened out, avoided the cohort big one. So yeah, congratulations to those guys. A lot of red on the penalty points there, Mello.
Yeah, for 5 incident points, you lose a point. So it's a penalty point at that point. So drivers out here with 25, 24 incident points. Bryce, being up here, got the top, or he got a P6, but lost 4 points. So, those penalty points and bonus points are going to come into play here in the future races here, as those will accrue. And, you don't want to have penalty points. You want to have more bonus points and penalty points. But kept it at a fine margin here. We'll definitely take a look here at some of the post-race stuff here. Kermit, final thoughts on the race. What did you think about that?
I think it met all the expectations. Going into that street stock at Michigan, we knew that it was going to race like a plate race, and it most certainly did. We saw everything you expect from a Daytona or a Talladega. You have cars side by side, drafting, coming and going. We saw the big one. We saw a photo finish at the end there, and really we go back to James Conley winning. He was able to pull off the victory from the brotherly shove from Charles Northcutt. We said at the top of the race that it's really going to come down to finding that drafting partner at the end of the race in order to find the checkered flag, and that's exactly what James Conley did.
Yeah, to think that these guys were the only 2 leaders of this race, and they had 14 lead changes. 14. That's insane to think about. The 2 guys just swapped back and forth for the whole race. We had 4 cautions for 12 caution laps in this feature. I think it's a job well done for first race at Michigan. Look forward to seeing what's going to happen here at Dover coming up this next week. I think there's definitely going to be some different style of racing out there on the track, as I feel like tires are going to come into play there, as we have 60 laps at Dover. So Kermit, pleasure to have you up here in the booth. It's been a fun time. We will get back racing here in week 2 of Mello SRX next week on Saturday.